Hey toy collectors, welcome to another super exciting, outrageous toy review. Today I'm showing off some of the Warhammer 40,000 miniatures I've painted over the past couple months. I've got Tyranid, Imperial Guard, Ork, and Eldar models to show off. So this is my first experience painting Genestealers. Growing up, my buddy Brian played Tyranids, and I always loved the Genestealer models, and eventually I bought the Space Hulk game in the mid-2000s or the 2000 teens, and I was always planning on splitting the models with him to increase his army and increase my army since I played Marines. But at this point now, I'm just keeping the game all together, and I just wanted to paint these guys because they look like a lot of fun. I've really been upping my painting with highlighting and things like that, and just trying to use some skills that I didn't necessarily use back in the day as I was learning how to paint models. So I'm pretty proud of these guys. I also painted a few Genestealers that came with the 4th edition box set, I believe, which was the Tyranids vs. Space Marines box set. Again, that was a set that I bought to bolster my army and Brian's army, but really it was right around the time that we were giving up on the hobby, and so none of those miniatures got painted or played with. But now that I'm kind of excited about painting Warhammer again, I'm getting all those models put together and painted here. So there are more Genestealers to paint from Space Hulk and from that box set, which eventually I'll get to. I like kind of rotating in different units to have a variety of things to paint. Towards the end of our time playing Warhammer, I was trying to put together a Genestealer Cult army for my buddy Brian, just to sort of expand his troop options as he'd been playing Tyranids for a while, and our battles have become very repetitive playing, kind of with our same favorite units. And so I customized these Genestealer hybrids out of fantasy lizardmen. I had gotten a pack of 2 metal lizardmen somewhere along the line and painted them up, and then I got a paint set based on the fantasy game that came with 5 plastic lizardmen. And so I basically took these models I'd already painted and sacrificed them, cobbled them together, added some more arms, added some weapons, got a few Genestealer pieces, and I think there's even a Tyranid warrior arm in the bunch. This metal lizard man has a plasma pistol and that Genestealer arm added on there to help give him more of that hybrid look. And I used some extra Space Marine arms and shoulder pads to kind of give these guys the hybrid look there. So this guy has 3 arms, 2 of which are a little bit more armored, and he's got that crazy human skin shoulder pad there. I like that kind of zombie look to the Genestealer Cult. Here we've got some Rogue Trader era adventurers. I actually got these guys off eBay. They were listed as Brood Brothers, and that's what I'm using them for. I painted all 3 of these guys up because I'm trying to get a Genestealer Cult army going. I'm actually building off of the 2nd edition army that we sort of started years ago, but I'm buying a lot of the new modern miniatures. I'm looking at the more modern codex to try to make an army that maybe I could play legally now. For the purpose of fun and friendly matches, I actually made some resin copies of these Brood Brothers as well as an Imperial Guard model and fleshed out this squad so they all kind of have that Oldhammer aesthetic to them. They're not perfect. There's definitely some air bubbles in them. I did swap a few heads and swap a few weapon tips to give some of these guys some options. So there is a missile launcher guy and a flamer guy and a plasma gun guy. There's also a few other little odds and ends here and there, like a Chaos Sword and a comm backpack from an Imperial Guard guy with the antenna clipped off. So just to try and spice them up and make it look like they're not all exactly the same guy. I had a lot of fun painting these guys, although the detail, wasn't as great on these copies. I've got a few Imperial Guard guys here in the chocolate chip camo that I painted my Imperial Guard army. I was trying to get a 2nd edition Imperial Guard army together, and I don't think it ever saw battle, but I painted a ton of minis, and I picked up a blister at some point that came with a last cannon guy and a flamer guy, and I think the dude with the heavy bolter actually came from the Colonel Schaefer's Last Chancer box set. I guess he was the last of the last Chancers I needed to paint. We've got a Gorka Morka era Pain Boy here. I was working on a 2nd edition Ork army towards the end of my time playing Warhammer, and Gorka Morka was out at that point, and those models were easy to come by. And I was looking for some of the character models. I picked up this Pain Boy. I think he is kind of interesting. I painted up a handful of Helper Gretchen here. Again, I picked these guys up around that same era where we were transitioning, and the second edition models were still sort of around occasionally, but also lots of new Gorka Morka style figures were available. I love these old Gretchen. The guy with the big wrench, the one that's holding the little squig in his hand. They're just super fun. Even the guy that, like, can't look at what he's shooting, he's gonna put someone or something out of its misery. I love it. The last thing I have to show you is not actually on screen right now. This is a second edition Eldar Dreadnought that my buddy Derek painted for his army. And he happened to have two of these models. And at some point, he kind of like lost steam in painting new stuff. I think he really put a lot of work into painting a Falcon grav tank, and he was just like spent. But I was kind of churning out models at the time, so he gave me his second Dreadnought and said to paint it up for him. And then we just sort of dropped out of the hobby. So all these years later, now that I'm back into it, I had this second Dreadnought, and I really wanted to paint it because I'm having fun painting stuff from lots of different armies. So I had to do something to kind of up the game a little bit. I wanted a more dynamic pose. I did put him on a little bit bigger base, but I've got the rock there and a little section of road. He's got his knee bent. I bent the fingers on his one hand a little bit more to make it look like he's starting to make a fist, and just kind of tried to make this model a lot more dynamic. So I totally followed Derek's lead on the paint scheme. There is a little bit more washing and highlighting going on mine than his, but I tried not to crank it up too much to make it extremely different. The one color I didn't really have, though, is the light metallic purple he has on his runestones. So the ones on the Dreadnought I painted are much darker. It was just the closest I could get, but I really do think he turned out cool. I did paint up the two alternate weapons that came with the Dreadnought, but I gave up on trying to figure out a way of making them swappable. I kept thinking about drilling holes and putting a pin through it, but the Eldar stuff is just so thin. The weapon mount just didn't seem like it was going to deal well with me modifying it. So these guys got painted but aren't going to probably see the light of day. Thanks for watching this super exciting, outrageous tour review. In the comments down below, let me know which model I painted this month was your favorite. Thanks for watching this super exciting, outrageous tour review. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out my other videos.